So, Elle, in our last conversation, we unpacked the joy and, all the gifts in permissioning some guilt-free time away, a
Hmm.
chunk of time away to take a step back, gain fresh perspective. And yet there always comes a point where it's, how do we engage back in, leaning back in and starting
Hmm.
again. And how you and I were both just having a conversation around recognizing that there can be a little bit of resistance and
Yes.
lack of momentum. And
Yeah,
yeah, so we want to just unpack that a bit today because I think we both
absolutely.
recognize it's pretty normal as you
Of
ask a whole lot of
course.
people in a room together and people go, yeah, I so relate to that.
Yeah. And I mean it's the cost, it's the personal cost that, from taking time away. There is a cost, there's a financial cost, but there's a personal cost. I've been away and now it's time to get back into whatever it is. And it's not necessarily easy. We might feel refreshed, but then knowing what to start with and how to start and where to start can often
Yeah,
cause, and what
yeah.
causes me to just go, oh, maybe this is just too hard.
So, first up, just setting a bit of
Sure.
context here. Like,
Mm,
definitely what you and I have both agreed on that, and I think we both agreed on this, is that, like, hands down, amen to going away. Like, great gift to taking the break,
yes.
going away.
Wouldn't
And
change it for the
so,
world.
if I have to sort of weigh up, the challenge between now this new challenge of how do we lean in and
Mm,
overcome this like momentum little hill and get over that
yeah.
and get over the procrastination, the pain of that versus the joy in having gone away.
Yes.
Like the joy wins hands down. Okay.
100%. Wouldn't even begin to argue that fact. Yeah.
And I would do it all again,
Yes.
Yeah.
In
So
a
even though
heartbeat.
this now is a bit of a struggle, I would still do it again each
Mm,
time. So if you're
hmm.
listening, like, yeah,
It's
still
worth it.
hands down worth it going away,
Yep.
taking a break.
Agreed.
But also, I think it's worth a conversation just to normalize that it's pretty normal. And you
Mm,
and I both learned this in our training that it's normal to have these uh, episodes or moments in
mm,
life
hmm.
where there's resistance, there's
Yeah.
procrastination, there's,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. And we
And
want to
so,
get a bit curious because when it comes up, I always find it interesting because I think, okay, Al, you've been here before. I've procrastinated many times in my life before. And it's just, I find it really interesting to have these conversations with you, Kath, to get a bit curious. Okay, what's going on? Why am I? What's really happening right now that's causing me to have some of these feelings?
yeah. So, you want to share with us, Al?
Yeah, you're gonna say, so
What
what's
is
going on,
happening?
Al?
Uh,
No, nothing huge except for the fact. So I'm studying. And so I was away for however long it was, weeks on end. I am now very far behind in my studies,
okay.
which is
Yeah.
okay. And I knew this would be the case. So there's something about what you know, but then also how you feel about it. So I've come back going, you've got so much to do. You've got all of this stuff
Wow.
that's kind of due. It's And you know what? I'm finding it very difficult to even open the computer and look at the portal where all of my assessments are. Because before we went away, my head was in the space of, okay, this is my learnings, this is my assessment. I was sort of focused, I had time allocated. I've been away, it's just, I don't know, completely forgotten everything I was doing. And just the idea of going back into it is very stressful for me. And I'm just not getting back into it. I'm just putting it off for another day. Do you know what? I've even said I'm going to do it tonight, one day, but then something came up. I'm like, oh, well, I can't do it tonight because, and it was just such a flippant, silly little thing that we were doing that night. It wasn't a real excuse, but I was happy to have an excuse.
Yeah. So
Mm,
I think what you're touching on here, what I'm hearing is a bit of overwhelm.
yeah. If
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
sit and think about it, yeah.
And I think what happens, like a normal reaction,
Mm,
because this is reacting to something, and
yes.
we all do this. We all
Mm,
react to stuff. And I think sometimes our reaction to something that feels overwhelmed feels kind of it's in that fear space, it sort
Yes.
of scares us a bit. There's
Mm,
unknown, it's uncomfortable, that overwhelming, and
mm.
that within our bodies, I think, triggers the stress response.
Yes.
And so, just simplifying it right down, when we're stressed, we either freeze, fight, flee,
Yeah.
And so I think and one of the ways that we flee or run is to do exactly what we make excuses. Something comes up and we're like, oh yeah. And in the moment, in that time, that excuse seems so
It
like
kind of
important and
fits.
valid and
Yeah.
fits. Yeah.
Mm.
And we justify that this is what we
Mm.
need to do. And then, you look back the day after and you go, oh man, really?
It
Like,
was
what was I
just an
thinking?
excuse. Yeah.
It was an excuse. But I think what I'm learning about all of this is that we are human and it's
Mm.
okay to be human.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a training that's just been like really helpful because part of this is, I've always understood how important awareness is. So
Mm.
there's the like, oh, I'm doing overwhelm right now. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So when I do overwhelm, I tend to find excuses, and just
Mm.
that awareness can be so helpful.
Yeah.
And yet, what I'm also learning is also helpful is then the permission word comes up again. So just a permission to like, it's okay that I feel this way.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
yeah, I'm
nothing
aware I
wrong.
feel this way. And, well, the word they use is acceptance. So can
Yeah.
I
Okay.
accept that right now I'm feeling a bit
Mm.
overwhelmed? And
Mm.
so when I've been practicing this, so for me, there's this, you're feeling overwhelmed. For me, I'm procrastinating because I'm feeling a bit vague.
Right. Okay.
Feeling about I know that I am much more able to take steps when I've
Mm.
got clarity. So
Yes.
in my world, vagueness is like the enemy. You know,
Right.
I want to have clarity, and if I don't have clarity,
Yeah.
then I make all sorts of excuses and find all sorts of reasons. Because what if it's wrong, and what if I waste time going down a rabbit hole that's wrong?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the need to be clear and possibly right,
Yeah. I was
rightness.
going to
For me,
say,
that,
is that?
yeah, yeah. So that's probably my, and if you're
Mm.
listening, maybe you relate to both, overwhelm and the
Yeah.
need to be right, because I think these are all human, proper human, we all experience these things.
Yeah.
And when I've practiced, yeah, the awareness, but the
Mm.
acceptance, can I just accept that I'm feeling a bit vague at the moment?
Mm.
And then that's maybe fueling a bit of procrastination.
Mm.
It kind of gives me permission to just take a breath.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, yeah, like I can understand this, and actually, I have permission
Mm.
because when I'm in that state of, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way, I shouldn't
Yes.
be
You're
procrastinating,
judging
I
yourself,
shouldn't be
right?
like, that's
Mm.
judging. And when you're
Mm.
judging and you're in that sort of stress response, we know that things close off and things shut down, and you don't have access to the creativity, the clearer thinking,
Mm.
the problem solving,
Yeah.
figuring things out, finding solutions to things. And
Sure.
so for me, that whole just next step of, oh, can I accept this? It gives me
With
permission then to just,
compassion.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
to just
Yeah.
not do the judgment thing.
Yeah.
And when I'm not judging on myself and much more accepting of myself, then kind
Mm.
of it like opens the door for me
Sure.
to go, oh, you know what? What's really at stake here? Or let's just take a step and let's
Mm.
figure it out. And I
Yeah.
kind of have more grace to move forward from that
Yeah.
space.
Absolutely. And I'm just thinking if I was having a conversation with somebody and I was pointing out all the things that they should be doing and being judgy to them, that's not going to make them want to walk away and do it. And that's yet what I find myself regularly doing to in this situation. You should
Yeah.
just open your computer. You should do this. You need to do that. You're going to get further and further behind. All of those things are not helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Because what
easy.
does that do? Like, how does your body
Mm,
feel when that's the narrative going on in your head?
absolutely much worse.
Yeah.
the knot gets even greater
Yeah,
because then not only, of course, do I need to do the work or whatever's in front of me, there's this pressure to do it. Whereas if, if someone came alongside me and showed me grace and kindness, I'm going to want to step up to that plate, and I'm going to want to do some of the things, because really I'm going to make my life a bit easier if I open the computer and look at what needs to be done. That's actually a really beautiful thing to do. That's going to help me.
yeah,
So the language of me going, oh, that would be a really helpful thing to do, rather than I should do it, completely changes my mindset. Completely changes and shifts the feeling that accompanies the action of opening up my computer and looking at what I need to do.
yeah. So, so
Mm,
true. And I
mm,
think you've just hit the nail on the head with something else that I've been thinking and recognizing as well. And the line that I hear coming up over and over again, like on
mm.
different, I don't know, different podcasts or different, reels or something that I watch is, how often do
Sure.
you hear people sharing that we are not wired to do life on our own and
Oh
to
my
walk
goodness.
alone?
Mm,
And so I think also when you're sitting in this inertia or sitting in this, oh, I know I should, and you're shooting on
mm,
yourself, like I
mm,
should space. The gift in asking yourself, okay, again, it's the permission. Okay,
mm.
so I realize this is where I am. Can I accept this is where I am? And then who in my world can
Yeah,
I have a conversation with who's also not going to judge, but
yeah.
going to have compassion and grace that I can just say, hey, this is hard. Like, I'm not quite sure. And
Mm,
they're going to just say, it's okay.
mm,
But I'm here with you, and what do you need, and what could be
mm.
helpful right now? And let's take this next step together.
Yeah,
And that's, I think, why I really have been so excited about talking to you again, getting on the podcast with you again, because I think this
yeah.
has given me a space where we have that, we can sort of go,
Mm.
hey, check
This is what's
in
going on. Hmm.
and, how can I walk alongside you in this and
Mm.
um, just be there on the journey with you. And it just makes such
Yeah,
a difference.
it does. It really is about who we're doing life with, and walking alongside, and then that same compassion that we have for others,
Yeah,
that we have towards ourselves, which is, I love how you said before about accepting the state, the feeling that we're experiencing, having that acceptance and then showing ourselves that same compassion we offer to others shifts. And I'm already starting to feel the shift in myself. I started off saying, I've got all this
fantastic.
and I need to. Last week I went for a drive, and I for work, and I was to offer support to some people. And so I had an incredible opportunity to sit in that space and encourage and help sort of speak a bit of life and uplift. And it's so interesting how it's easy to do that for others. And yet when it comes to ourselves, and when we're starting to feel overwhelmed, that's not our go-to often, for me anyway. I don't go to speaking kindly to myself and having compassion and grace. I go to judging myself of what I need to do next and what I should be doing. It's just fascinating. It's easy for others to offer it to others, but not to ourselves.
Yeah. Until we've become aware
Hmm.
and then can sort of like accept and then almost sort of have a bit of a chuckle about it, like,
Yeah.
can't believe I'm doing this again, and just, yeah, I think it's the whole thing, not being so judgy, but also, uh, I take life so seriously. Goodness me.
Yes.
I'm like the queen of taking life seriously. And
Hmm.
I'm also learning that I don't have to take life so seriously.
It's a
And
choice.
so being in the space of just trying out what does acceptance look like? What does having fun look like? It definitely, for me in my body, I feel this shift, because I
Yeah.
just was recognizing, man, oh man, I've got my gut is just like in a tight ball
Mm.
80% of the time and thinking, what on earth? Is this
Mm.
just menopause? I don't think so. I think there's something else going on here.
Something more to it.
And and recognizing how much of it is just in my head.
Yeah, the
And it's the
stories.
stories and
Mm.
the guilting and the judging and the blaming and the excuse, you're making excuses for things. Um, yeah, it's exhausting actually. And
Mm.
so being able to just recognize it and go, okay, let's just shift here. I
Mm.
can accept, but do I want to shift? Absolutely. I want to shift.
Yes.
So can that look like?
Yeah.
And funny when I've started practicing that, it's like the need for that rightness and that clarity also diminishes a bit. And there's more
Yes.
space to go, you know what, let me just experiment. Let me just have a
Let's
go.
have a go.
Yeah.
And so, would you say that that's the next part? So, I'm thinking, all right, we've spoken about an awareness, we've spoken about like an acceptance of where we're currently at, what we're feeling, and are we willing to sort of sit in that and accept it? Would you say the next thing is having a go, is taking action, or what would be next to sort of help get the ball rolling again?
Well, I think absolutely action, and it's so funny because so often, and I think you've shared this before, how um, when you start taking action, it's almost like the first step's the hardest step,
Yeah.
and maybe the second step. But like once you've taken a step or two, you
Hmm.
kind of think, what took me so long?
Yeah.
Like then the next steps just come. So
Yeah.
it's that inertia to begin. But once you begin and start taking, so it's just take a
Mm.
step. Like for me, who's so stuck in the needing clarity and needing rightness, I'm recognizing it's just take a step, like any step.
Just
Doesn't
do
really matter what
something.
step. Just do something, and then take a
Mm.
couple of steps, and then it's like, oh, okay, phew, out of that
I
boggy,
survived that.
muddy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then often the path gets a little bit clearer, especially
Oh,
if
yes.
vagueness has become our thing and we're sort of stuck in this vagueness. I think often when we take a step, any step, we learn from that step and things start to become clearer, which is such a beautiful experience. And then, we keep it going and it builds and it builds and it builds,
Yeah.
especially if
I,
we're
I lo
sharing it with someone else as well on the journey.
Yeah, and I love metaphor, and that just reminds me. The picture I've got in my head now is going for a run, and it's that whole
Mm.
like inertia when you haven't started running yet, and you're just standing there, and that's starting, and even when you start a run, sometimes the first 100 meters or so or 200 meters just feels like oh my
So
hip, my back,
heavy and awful.
yeah, all the.
Hmm.
But then once you sort of find your rhythm and just get into
Yeah.
that momentum, so it's the how do we go from zero to momentum, and then
Yeah.
keeping momentum going is often way easier than building up
Starting
momentum
again.
and starting
Yeah.
again. Yeah, yeah,
I love your running one because I remember when I was injured from running and to stay fit, I started swimming and I don't love swimming. I don't like getting in cold water. Anyway, and so I went with a group of women and the first time I went to this group, the girl said to me, "Oh, she said, Al, the first 8 laps are a killer, but you get through that, you can keep swimming." And I'm like, first 8 laps? Like can I even swim 1 lap? And I remember just being so gobsmacked thinking 8 laps, that's insane. But do you know what? That very first time, and because I was reasonably fit at the time, but I was not a swimmer, I
yeah.
got through the 8 laps and she was deadly right. I did 30, no, that day, I think the first day I did like 20 laps or so.
Good
But the
heavens,
first
yeah,
eight, nearly, I would have just quit. Had she said, Al, the first eight, are the most difficult. After that, it gets easier. And I decided to trust in that bit of
yeah,
wisdom. It really was true. And, what we're able to do when we push through what we think is really difficult or impossible. Like I would have thought, no, I can't swim 8 laps. That's just ridiculous. But I had someone there cheering me on and saying, hey, the first eight are really hard. Once you get past that, it's much easier. True story. So, anyone out there, bit of wisdom for the day, thinking of swimming, the first eight are a killer. You'll want to
uh,
quit, but after that it gets easier and it is true and it's the same in life. The first bit's always the most difficult. Mm.
yeah. And so, having heard you share that, Al, how are you feeling now about opening that
I'm
course on
actually
your
a little
laptop?
bit I'm actually a little bit keen about it.
Oh,
Although
yeah.
we have to do the what's on today? The census.
Oh, yes, that's right. Uh,
I can't study now. The census is on to fill out the census. But there's always going to be something. But I actually, yeah, I'm a little bit more excited about in all truthfulness. Yeah, some of that fear is gone. And I know that it actually isn't as hard as I'm making it out to be. Mm.
Right. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, you're in a bit of a hard, you're just
Mm.
struggling to get past that first hard bit, we're so glad you're here and that you listened.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you and I can have conversations like this because I am also
Mm.
feeling way more
Are
excited
you?
and ready to move forward. And
Yeah.
yeah, just having been able to just unpack this a bit more and figure out what's going on.
Mm.
And
Mm.
also, just the being able to check in again. So
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I know I can flick you a quick text in the week and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Or you'll do the same for me.
Did you open that
Uh,
computer, Al? Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely helps. So,
Mm.
so if you have been in a spot of feeling really, stuck because you're procrastinating and you're not finding momentum, you're normal.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you.
Absolutely not.
You're not broken or need fixing. It's yeah,
Mm.
just so we hope this conversation has inspired
Yeah.
you and picked
Yeah.
you up a bit and yeah, and let us
Help to
know.
have a
Let
bit
us
of
know what,
compassion.
so we've said overwhelm and vagueness and, lack of clarity
They're
are
our
some of the
thing.
things. So
Yeah.
what are your things that you feel
Mm.
are your stumbling to finding momentum? We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely would. That'd be great to hear and hear some other normal things that come up for people that don't feel so normal and natural at the time. It feels like they're hindering us, but they're not really. They're
Yeah.
just seasons. And yeah, thanks for the chat and thanks for the encouragement. I feel lots brighter and ready to go
Well, enjoy
study.
your
No
studying.
more excuses, people. All right. God bless you and
Have a good week, Al.
yeah.
See
All
ya.
right. Catch ya.
Bye.